This will be a brief, high-level case study of a luxury niche launch in a high-end vacation market. It's a good illustration of the concepts that apply in this space as well as residential. It's an endorsement of high-quality, high-end, niche-specific video content across all your social and search. And as important, it's a specific illustration of the effect that hyper-specific content has on your ideal prospect. The person who's either looking to buy or sell in a high-end neighborhood, or the person who's looking to rent a $60,000 to $120,000 weekly luxury vacation rental anywhere around the world. This is a project that was publicly launched to social and Facebook, Instagram accounts on April 6th, 2017, with the first qualified lead generation occurring 7 a.m. or 7:52 a.m. the next morning. The nature of the contact with this ideal prospect type demonstrates how hyper-specific information touches your ideal prospect type and compels them to see you as the obvious choice. Because almost nowhere in any of the markets we're discussing are people representing themselves as the expert in a hyper-specific way. This project begins with challenges that are fairly standard across high-end niche real estate verticals, which is your competition has images and limited video that is also high quality and also compelling in nature. Beautiful scenes, wonderful views, and incredible properties with majestic interiors. And that's perfect for gaining efficiency on social, in search, YouTube, and other places where compelling visuals can be leveraged for tons of efficiency. But if everybody's trying to push the same property in this vertical, and if you don't have exclusives on hundreds of them, and if the ticket price is compelling enough that separating yourself by degrees to become the obvious choice means thousands of dollars per weekly rental in this case, then how exactly do you set yourself apart when everybody has spectacular images? Or how do you capture smart luxury niche sellers, the people who own the properties, if you want to expand your portfolio? How do you make yourself look like the best choice for renters so that more property owners come to you and do give you exclusives? Now, if you're in residential real estate, it's not a big leap to transcribe this into a residential luxury niche where you have the same conversations, which is how do you set yourself apart when everybody has spectacular images for buyers and renters? And more importantly, how do you capture smart luxury niche sellers by making yourself look like the obvious choice to buyers? Secondly, we have a problem of context, which is the assumption I have if you're working with me is you are the expert in your niche. But if I'm someone who just moved to the neighborhood, if I'm an expat and I'm looking from overseas for property and I have a new job assignment, if I have no connection to the neighborhood, if I've never been on the sidewalk and spoken to anyone who's done business with you, I have no means of coming to the conclusion that you're the expert in the field unless you're doing something different. And you have no reason to believe that your ideal prospect won't hire an inferior competitor for the simple reason that that competitor has a cool looking video, a nice video, an informative video that they saw before they saw yours, or that they saw that was better than yours. So the issue with context is how do you make what has worked for you in the real world on the street and convey that online to your advantage? And finally, the issue of being a renter versus a buyer and the necessary evil of sites like Zillow and other third-party entities where you probably spend money, you probably gain business, but where you gain no long-term advantage and where you have no real means to set yourself apart or demonstrate that you are the expert in your niche. And finally, if you're a top performer, the fact is you're probably putting a great deal of resources into advertising on social, search, third-party sites. You've probably got some sort of SEO or blogging or third-party social services in place. You're doing things right now that work, and you're being successful with them. The fact remains that video is one of the most powerful tools to increase your presence on SEO, social. It is a great way to increase your conversions on any type of website or landing page. It's known to increase time on site. It's known to be an effective tool for list building for both buyers and sellers. So it basically improves every other aspect of digital marketing that you might be doing. What we propose is to create what would otherwise or formerly have been a prohibitive amount of high quality, high definition, highly specific, niche related content in these videos. Furthermore, we propose that if you are the first person to target a very specific niche, we're not talking about a town, we're talking about a building. We're not talking about a city, we're talking about a development. We're talking about specific niche language that will appeal to your ideal high-end demographic who's been there, who knows the neighborhood, who wants to hear words that are local and take them back to the good times they had before. Or, in the case of a buyer or seller in a residential situation, to demonstrate niche content knowledge like no other realtor is doing with the level of specificity that we have to offer, with the level of quantity that we produce in all the places that matter, search, social, and otherwise. So as we set up to focus on each niche, we want to make sure that we've got you covered across search and social. We want to expand an audience for that highly specific topic content, meaning hashtag trends on places like Instagram. And Instagram is important as anywhere else for the high-end luxury niches we're talking about or discussing. Because if your ideal prospect isn't on Instagram, I guarantee their children are. I guarantee their significant other is. So we already know that super high-end content works. What we want to do is make sure we're touching the right influencers. We want to make sure we get followed and liked and comments from people who are going to instantly associate our brand outward towards thousands of their followers, or even hundreds or dozens of their followers for that matter. So we're going to accomplish our beautiful media goals, and then we're going to overwhelm our competition by having far more quantity than they do in all the places our prospect surfs, searches, and socializes. But then we're going to be seen by the influencers that matter and get important traction early. The challenge we're looking at here is going back to the ability to scale and sustain high quality content. We've addressed our ability to do so, and we'll simply say that we are systemized to create massive outputs of video for search, social, ads, and site. So this challenge has been overcome. But we want to make sure it winds up creating business action. We want to increase conversions. So all this targeting is combined with formats that we know get clicks, formats that we know get calls, and formats that we know get emails. Now, while our process is not fully automated, we expect to be fully automated by the end of the year. But at this point, we already have the ability to build unbelievable portfolios on a per client basis that allow us to maximize all the efficiencies that you want to take advantage of, and do so with overwhelming production with incredibly reasonable budgets. And the nature of our onboarding process allows us to transfer enough of your subject matter knowledge, both in form of spreadsheets and questionnaires, but also an actual live voice recording that we take you through so we can present your subject matter expertise in your voice. And then we customize all of the content to get maximum reach and visibility for long-term return, as well as a lower cost per acquisition across all your other digital paid efforts. That lower cost per acquisition is a standard effect of having greater SEO presence and greater visibility on social. It adds more touches to those magic 7 or 9 touches that you've read about in all your marketing textbooks. In practical terms, what this means in this case is, on the 2nd of April, we had our client's media catalog set up. We had outlaid all the necessary resources for us to enable high quality production as well as incredibly high output. By the 4th, we had initiated production. By April 5th, we had set up all of the social accounts necessary and done all the hashtag, influencer, and keyword research that we needed to get traction immediately. At 12 noon the next day, on April 6th, we began our Facebook and Instagram output and automation. On the first day of launch, from noon to midnight, the posts, numbering less than a dozen across Instagram and Facebook, generated hundreds of engagements, mostly likes and comments. Sometime between midnight and 7:52 a.m. the following morning, our very first inquiry discovered our content and initiated contact with us through a Facebook private message or instant message or whatever Facebook calls it. There was back and forth via Facebook. The client replied by email, and we've done business. We do not represent these results to be typical. In fact, it's atypical to see a super well qualified lead generate first thing in the morning the day after you launch. But it speaks well to our methodology, which is massive saturation and frankly overproduction. More videos than you need, in part to raise the barrier of entry to the next person who thinks this is a good idea in your niche or with your keywords, but also in part because the nature of your interactions is so potentially fleeting that we need to flood every potential channel that your prospect may exist in. It's more chips on the table. That's all it is. It's spreading our chips all over the roulette table. And a lot like roulette, you can look at our methodology as creating content for every number on the board, while your competition is investing in marketing themselves as the expert on red and black. You're going to be the expert on 10, 12, 35, 36, 14, 5. You're going to be speaking very specific language to your ideal prospect about their ideal wants. If you believe in video, we believe this is the best way to go about it for high-end luxury real estate, almost across the board. And this was a fun implementation and a really fun example to see happen in real time. Thank you.